Hey everyone, it's Kong with the 21st issue of the Langrisser Lookout. Looking good on a monthly schedule so far in 2021. This is a regular series where I go over some noteworthy game news and then follow it up with an update on my own account progress. So let's start with the important stuff, which is the news. Actually, I lied. Before getting into the PvE stuff, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to my guild, Wings of War, on the merged Rayguard, Dalsis, Rocky Valley server. We've got a few open slots for level 70 players, and we've got a nice mix of supportive PvE and PvP focused players. Our guild leader is Junny, who's usually in the mix in the Apex Arena playoffs, along with Chung and a few others. We've also got 3 of the top 10 and 4 of the top 15 overall Ancient Beckoning scores, which is not too shabby for a merger of older servers. So if you're an active level 70 player and you want to get into my guild before the new Guild Wars content starts, then go apply in the game. Alright, that's the sponsored content over with, so on with the show. One of the nice things about doing this monthly is that we have nearly guaranteed new info about new characters from China every month. This time I'll be talking about the latest crossover event that'll be coming to global servers in late July, early August, and it's Ronin Warriors. This is another old-school anime that was popular in Japan in the 80s, and somehow it also made its way to the West in the mid-90s, so some nostalgic older otaku might remember it as well. As usual, we're getting 2 new summonable banner characters and 1 free SR event character. Unfortunately, I recorded this episode before we had the full details about the characters, so we're not 100% on their factions or skills, but we do know who they are and what their talents should be. Ryo Sanada is the main character, so he'll undoubtedly be protagonists, and Heroes of Time, of course, and something else. His talent apparently gives him boosted attack and defense, and up to 2 revives if he dies while initiating battle, kind of like Shuri's exclusive armor. Also, before you initiate battle, or if you end your turn in the danger zone, you trigger a 3-turn super buff that increases damage dealt, reduces damage taken, increases mobility by 1, and makes you immune to all debuffs. This is on a 6-turn cooldown, so once you trigger it, you've got 3 turns on and 3 turns off. The other summonable character is Lady Kayura. She was kidnapped and mind-controlled by the main antagonist of the series, so she may very well be a member of Dark Reincarnation or Mythical Realm in addition to Heroes of Time. Great combination. When initiating battle, she ignores 20% of the enemy's magic defense, and increases crit rate and crit damage by 20%, giving her a kind of built-in magical version of the Crystal Stinger. So she sounds like she's going to be a kind of magical assassin. She also has a mini Juglar healing effect, so if she's hit with AoE damage, she heals herself and the teammate with the lowest hit points. Finally, the free SR character from the event is Toma Hashiba, or Rowan Hashiba as he was called in the English version. I wonder which name they'll go with in this version. We might have another close Chloe situation on our hands. Anyway, he's an archer, and his talent boosts his attack power and disables enemy passives when he initiates combat. If you end your turn with no adjacent allies, you get another Sanada-style 3-turn super buff. This one giving plus 15% attack, plus 1 unit range, and immunity to all debuffs. So this one is on a 5-turn cooldown, so once you trip it, you've got 3 turns on and then 2 turns off again. So it seems to me like Zilong's game balance pendulum is still wildly swinging back and forth. First we had Bozel and Reen dropping debuffs faster than King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard releases new albums. Then Rosenseal came along to shut them down, and Kruger came along to open them back up again, and now we have these characters who just have built-in multi-turn debuff immunity. We'll know more about these characters in the next few days, as well as the delicious scoop on any new 3C skills and exclusive gear, so definitely keep an eye on Wikigrisser because they continually update their content as we learn more. Oh, before we move on, it's probably worth talking about Altemuller's SP class since I don't think we got to that last time. His SP class is another flying option, but this time instead of riding on a dragon, he is the dragon. What a total badass. His new SP talent is a slightly tweaked version of his normal talent. It slightly reduces the total attack of each stack, but it increases the number of them you can stack up, and it makes it easier to accumulate them. It also lets him ignore skill cost like Jugler with his bone, so you can use his 3C skill and 2 other 2-cost skills. His new troop option is Steelwing Warriors, which are always a solid pick. One of his new skills is a passive that lets him move through enemy units and restore his own hit points based on how many talent stacks he currently has, up to a max of 30%. And his other new skill is a 2-ring AoE vacuum move, kind of like Ares' 3C effect, and it lets him act again. So he can attack, but he can't reposition himself first, just like his 3C. The thing is, you can combo this with his 3C, so you can suck up nearby enemies, use his 3C to attack someone, and then use the attack again from his 3C to attack again. He is seeing some play in Season 7 of Apex Arena on the Chinese servers, alongside a revitalized Bernhardt and Empire's Honor faction, so he may be interesting for folks who have these characters built up already. Plus, look at this art. Look at it. Look at these sprites. Speaking of PvP, the Summit Dare Langrisser Season 5 has been chugging along with some great matches in the elimination round so far. They're going into the top 16 next weekend, so if you haven't already joined their Discord server and followed their streamers, then there's still time for you to catch some really good top-tier matches. I'll put the link in the description again below in case you missed it. Okay, so that's it for the news, so let's move on to the Kong update for March 1st, and I will start with a summoning update as usual. So I carried 90 pity from the Rosin Seal banner for a whole month and popped Light of Genesis on her launch banner, so that was technically one character in 100 summons. I also had some pity going into the Ares Noemi Maiya banner, and I got my guaranteed Destiny Noemi at pity again, so another one character in 100 summons. If things were looking bad for my rates, the Sakura Wars crossover banner came along and single-handedly saved the day. I managed to get 3 copies of Sakura, 1 Sumire, and an off-banner Bozal to help contribute to my 5-star one, for a total of 5 SSRs in only 140 summons, so finally some bananas rates in my favor for a change. This all somehow combined to bring my lifetime SSR rate up to a relatively comfortable 1.81%. Still not the 2% that I really want to see, but it's better than before. Okay, now hopping into the game for an Awakening update. First, I awakened Iris, so now that she's finally 6-star thanks to the free shards from the event rerun, that's another fully built healer for whatever that's worth. And on the Gates front, after winning last month's Gates of Folly poll, Sigma finally made his way to 6 stars, so he's ready for his SP class with a couple weeks to spare, thanks to you all. Tiny Jessica also immediately took her place in the Gate Sweep schedule because I've been using her in Apex Arena and she's bananas, but no one else has crested a new milestone yet. Sage is probably the closest, with only a few days to go until he's 6 stars, so I won't actually include him in this month's poll since I'm obviously just going to finish him off. So, all that said, the 16th Gates of Folly community poll is now live on my community page, and the poll is going to be active all day Monday until the in-game server reset time, at which point I'll start farming up whoever wins the vote for the next 2 weeks. The main gear highlights from this month are actually, I can pop back in there because one of them is right on Rosin Seal. I got my first Twilight Guard. This is the new robe from the recent gear banner. I built it up and put it on her for now just because my Rosin Seal's healing is not the best. She's only 4 stars and she doesn't have Clotaire for her attack bond. And if you were watching my community posts, you may have seen that I finally got my first Uller's Bow. After getting my first EMB a while ago, this was my #1 priority, so I finally got one and I was so pumped, so I can start building Omega and Illustrial, whatever I want, whatever. Uller's Bow, finally in my possession. It took a year and a half, 2 years I guess. My next big gear goal is to get at least 1 Crystal Stinger, so I've been eyeing those damn dragons hungrily. So for training, other than slowly grinding up my main stat nodes a little bit at a time, the main progress I made in here was getting my Templar Knights up to level 10 for Landius. And I've also been working on getting my Lancers' overall stat nodes up, so I've got 76% for my Lancers. So I'm focusing on them and cavalry for now, but still chipping away at like one node in each tree as well for cheap stuff. For bonds, I topped up Bern and Altemuller and Varna for my rerun of Fenrir, and speaking of which, yeah, that's something else that's worth mentioning. It's been maybe a year since I set my S-rank scores in Ancient Beckoning, so I did start casually going through them again just to see how much better I can do. In many cases, I haven't really starred up any of the characters any further from when I used them the first time, but better gear and better troop training has helped me make some progress. So I boosted my Needhog score by about 500,000. It's still not great. I still need to do the 10 slimes in one turn, but I don't really have a strong Needhog team. I think I'll be able to put something together for it next time around. Then I obliterated my Fenrir score. I think I added like 4 million points, which was enough to put me into 41st place on the leaderboards on my server. And I got all the achievements done as well, so it was good, totally destroying Fenrir. And finally, I do have a PvP update for this week as well. So I've been winning a couple and losing a couple. I've managed to keep my ratio in the positive, so I'm still above 1600, which is kind of a goal of mine. It's nothing really to write home about, but the important thing is I'm actually enjoying my box for a change. I'm not going to show it here, because as at least Jason Adams ran into me once in Apex this weekend, I don't want to give you too many insider tips on how to take me down when you do run into me. So that wraps up the Kong update, and that's it for this issue. So thanks again for tuning in, and thanks for all your feedback and advice and encouraging comments as always. Stay tuned for the next episode of Should You Summon later this week, and then I'll catch you in the next Langrisser Lookout.